Narupada. Hey everybody, so we're doing our review of Kabali. Saw it a couple of days ago. You guys probably saw my video where we did our first impressions. A lot of people found that funny. It was fun. I had a fun time. But it's written and directed by Ranjith, and it's starring Rajinikanth. Everybody should know who he is by now. And I want to thank a Patreon for requesting I do this review. I'm sorry if I get your name wrong, but I'm going to give it a shot. Shakti Rajapa Siva. I would like to say thank you very much for becoming a recent Patreon and requesting I do the Kabali review. Really appreciate the support. Now, this is a spoiler alert. This is a spoiler review because I already did my spoiler-free first impressions review, which I will have a link to in the description below, so check that out. But let's get into this. So, Kabali is about a guy. We start with him. He's in prison. He's been in prison for 25 years, and then he gets released. They think he's getting old. He's not much of a threat anymore. So they let him go. But they warned him not to go back to his old ways. He was a mob boss of sorts, more like a Robin Hood or a superhero type of with a gang who fights against oppression. And so he's considered like a good mobster, supports the little man. We find out, he gets his start by fighting for the rights of the Tamil people that were in basically indentured servitude in Malaysia. And he got them equal pay. Helped start the uprising and got equal pay. That got the attention of the local Tamil mob, and he got brought in under that, and then went through the ranks and ended up becoming the leader. But it's unclear how he gets his money. They don't really talk about what the mob does to get money. I don't think they talked about it, and if they did, let me know, but I don't remember them actually talking about that. I just know that it's not drugs or prostitution or any other form that would oppress people, because that's against their beliefs. They are fighting for the smaller guy. I see. And I had mentioned this before, a lot of you disagreed with me when I saw the trailer, but I saw a lot of parallels between Kabali and his movie Basha from 1996. Both of them are good mobsters that use their influence and power to help people, normal people. Rajinikanth can single-handedly take out multiple bad guys, action star. Everyone is intimidated even by the mention of his name, either Basha or Kabali. The movies both start in the present day and have back flashes where he's got a beard in the present day and then just a mustache in the past scenes. Except in Kabali, he shaves the beard and leaves the mustache in the second part of the movie when he's trying to find his wife so that she would recognize him. But there's a lot of different parallels I saw. Now, not to do with story, just little setups like that I just mentioned. But in Basha, they explain that he's a smuggler. So he's not doing anything that would hurt the average person. If anything, he's, sidestepping the government or, moving alcohol or other maybe art or something that's not damaging to the public. So he's a smuggler, and he does that to make money so that he can, kill the bad guy. For the writing, I liked the story of him finding out that his daughter and his wife were still alive, but some of the pacing got slow in the second half after the intermission. It was a little too long to get back to the story that we were set up in the first half of the movie. And they could have easily condensed about 30 minutes of that into maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and made it a little more tighter and kept the story moving. Now, the reason I think the pacing was odd was because of the ending as well. I think they kind of went against each other. So at the end, the ending was odd because, and it got even more odd after I was reading about it and talking with some people after I got home. But at the end, a character walks up to Kabali. He was a student at his school. He wanted to join the gang, but Kabali didn't let him. He ends up going to jail for something, and basically the Malaysian mob convinces him to go and, if they get him out of prison, to go and kill Kabali. So he shows up, and then we cut to black, and you hear a gunshot, someone scream, and it's supposed to suggest that Kabali was killed, but without showing it. I know it was done to make people to guess of whether or not there would be a sequel. It'd be a cliffhanger. And if they did a sequel, it could be easily explained around it. You just show what was blacked out. Maybe the shot came from someone else and it killed the kid, or he got shot and he survived. But this is where I think the impact of the ending doesn't have the impact that the filmmakers wanted, is because they shot him at the intermission. So right before we go to intermission, they had a drive-by and he got shot twice. And he falls to the ground. They go to intermission. It's a little mini cliffhanger. We're like, oh, what happened? And then when we get back to him, he's bandaged up. He's healing up. He finds out his wife is still alive. And then he needs to heal up so that he can go and look for her. And that's where the pacing fell off. Now, for the impact of the ending of the movie, where he might have gotten shot, or at least they infer that he got shot, don't shoot him at the intermission. You're using the same cliffhanger twice in one movie, and it doesn't have the same impact when you do it a second time. So what I would have done is ended the first half when he was in the car with his daughter, and they're driving down, and he basically says, we will find her. We'll find your mother. We will find my wife. That's when you cut to intermission. So that when you come back from intermission, you can skip about 15 to 20 minutes of that healing stuff and then go straight into finding his wife. And then you get to the story much faster. I think it would fix a lot of that pacing, and it would make the ending more impactful for what they wanted it to be. But I think that's where the pacing fell off. I know a lot of people were wondering, why the pacing was off, and that's why I think the pacing fell off. What was weird, though, is I learned from a fan that in Malaysia the film has an alternate ending. So I'll put a screenshot up here. He sent me a screenshot that in Malaysia, the ending, he doesn't get shot, he gets surrounded by police and then finally surrenders to the police and gives himself up. Now, I don't know why they changed the ending, why there's an alternate ending like that. I think that's even worse than the, it's not as good as the one that they had, even though the one where he does get shot would have been better if he wasn't shot at intermission. But I don't know why they changed that ending, and maybe you guys can tell me why there's an alternate ending in some locations. So I would like that information. And according to an article in Forbes by Don Groves, there's a link for that below, the producer Thanu had revealed that the sequel is almost certain, that they are planning on it, and they've probably been planning it since they started Kabali in the first place. And that's why I think the ending is vague, where they cut to black and you hear a gunshot, because then they could easily explain around that for whatever they want to do in the sequel, whether it being him getting shot or the kid getting shot. Maybe they just haven't decided what they were going to do, but it would be a good way of easily explaining a sequel without having to have spending too much time on it. The directing I thought was pretty standard for a story, story heavy. So the directing The directing was good for what the story needed to be. No, they didn't have very many crazy shots or unusual setups for the camera, except for some of the action sequences. They did get a little more creative with where to place the camera, and I did like that. I think the standard directing for the storyline is good. You don't really need anything over the top. You don't want to do anything that's going to distract you from the story, where you're wondering, why are we looking up at his face from a 36-degree angle or something, you know, when he's just saying, we need to find my wife. So I think the director did a good job for, you know, focusing on the story itself and not trying to be outlandish. The acting was pretty good overall. I thought Rajinikanth was believable as his character. He's very suave, you know, the superstar that he is. And very much like he was in Basha, except I think he acted better in Kabali than he did in Basha. I think he did a better acting job. Could be, you know, because it's years later and he's had a lot more practice at it. Plus, I think his beard looked a lot more epic. The gray in his beard looked awesome. Probably my favorite look that he had. So I did love that. I liked that a lot. The other characters held their own for the most part. A lot of the leaders of the other gangs, especially the Malaysian gang leader. All the bad guys did a good job. Some of the side characters, not so much. But it's understandable. It's not a big deal. I mean, it's a... You know, it's a fun action movie. You're not going there for award-winning acting or anything. You're going there to have escapism and have some fun. So, although some of the acting wasn't great, it's for the side characters. But all the main characters, I thought, did a good job. The production and cinematography, I thought the production looked great. For like the sets and the scenes that they had set up, some of the outside shots, the locations that they used, especially the top of the skyscraper at the end where we have the final battle with the Malaysian gang during his the Malaysian leader's grandfather is having his 100th birthday celebration. I thought all of those locations and set pieces looked really good, so I was happy with the production. The cinematography shot well. No crazy color schemes or strange filterings of the camera. Pretty straightforward for the most part. Had a maybe a little slightly darker tone on a filter, but nothing like an alternate color filter. No light greens or reds or blue kind of filters. More of just maybe a tone down of the light. But I did like the cinematography. I like the way they set some of the stuff up. It was well organized and easy to follow for the most part. But there were a couple of scenes, fight scenes, that had too many quick cuts in it. Too many close-up quick cuts. But there were other action scenes that looked great, and you could tell what was going on. So I'm not totally mad at that. I like that. Now, as the music, as you all know, I love that main song. I love that main song. The rest of the music was very rock-centric, which really fit well with the movie, the action, especially the action with the movie. And I am personally partial to rock music. I do love rock music. There were some parts that had rap in it, which I don't mind, and it worked fine, but it was oddly placed, I felt. Like it just kind of came out of nowhere. You're like, and we got a rap right now. And it was like maybe five to 8 lines, and then that was it. It wasn't like a full rap song. It was just a single paragraph rap that was just fit into a song at random points, which I thought it was odd, but it worked okay. It didn't distract me too much. It was more of just curious, like, why did they do that? But the rest of the score, I thought, set the scenes very well. They did a great job with just the regular score that was in the background, not the theme musics or the songs, but just the regular score that was back. Did a great job of, you know, giving you the mood of whatever scene you were in without distracting you from what was going on. Now, I would like to point out that Rajinikanth is 67 years old, and he probably can't dance very well. There was one scene where he kind of danced, almost like a little joke, to because one of his fans had asked him to do it. But I think because of his age, he can't do the prep work and the filming of a large dance sequence. And that's why you're not going to get those. And I don't think you will in the future either. I know a lot of people were probably disappointed that that there weren't large dance sequences. Most of the songs that were in it were to montages of what was going on. Now, I personally like that because it services the story and moves some stuff along with giving you a song at the same time. But I know a lot of fans wanted the dance scenes, and I know I've said it before that although I personally don't like the whole MTV video that they end up putting in some movies, it is a popular thing and a lot of people like them. So I don't hate on it. It's just I would prefer it to be done this way for myself. But you like what you like, I like what I like. We just agree to disagree. So no worries. I'm just saying that you're not going to get the MTV music video in this movie that you would in other movies. And I think partially is because of his age and he can't do those sequences. So if they did have a large dance sequence, it would have to be with other characters. And maybe they're around him or something, but he's not going to be doing much of the dancing himself. You could tell during some of the fight scenes that came into play too. There were like a couple of stunts that you could tell were done by a stuntman that was dressed up like him because he ended up moving a lot faster than Rajinikanth did in every other scene. But it wasn't distracting. It was very short, like maybe a half a second little stunt, like going over a couch or something like that. My impressions of the movie, it's supposed to be a fun popcorn movie. Like, it was made to be a movie that you could go to the theater, escape reality for a little while, give your brain a rest, and just enjoy yourself. And I think they pulled that off. I think they did. Because I had a lot of fun in the movie. It didn't feel like 3 hours to me. It felt like maybe 2. And I had a fun experience. You could tell if you watch my impressions video. I had a fun experience watching the movie. And overall, I would give Kabali a 7 out of 10. Mainly because some of the pacing could have been better in the second half. Just like I explained, you don't need to shoot him in the intermission. You don't need that healing time. It's very pulls you out of the story. It's not needed. If you cut out the intermission part, then it really drags the pacing along. So for that, and also the redundant having him shot at intermission and at the end, I thought that was redundant, and it takes away from the impact of the ending. And a couple of the fight scenes could have been filmed better, but overall the action I thought was good. So 7 out of 10. That's what I think about it. But you guys tell me what you think, and comment below and let me know. Give me your ideas, thoughts. What did you like? What did you not like? And at this time, I would like to give a couple of shout-outs. So I wanted to give a shout-out to Goutam. I'm sorry, I'm going to pronounce your name wrong. I know I'm going to. Goutam Devadiga. He sent me the Malaysian alternate ending picture that I showed. I'll show it again right here. And Shrish Singh, who sent me the Forbes article. Thank you for sending me that. And IroPE, he was one of my first 25 subscribers, and he's been a great supporter this whole time. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. A couple of YouTubers that have been really good friends and have been supporting me greatly over the past 7 months, 8 months. Josh Traxler and Matt Wisniewski, which you guys have seen in some of my collab videos. SgtRocko, aka Gavin B, has been easy to get a hold of on email, and we talk back and forth from time to time. He was great during the Kabali teaser debacle. He was the first one to tell me that people were getting strikes, and So I thank SgtRocko for all of your support and communication, and also NicknameNiko for same thing, for great communication, and maybe we can get collabs going with some of these guys at some point. But I got links to all their channels in the description below as well. And two newer channels that have been really good supporters lately. They're new and upcoming. Got Bboy Reactions, who's you may have seen him posting to check out his reaction in the description or in the comments of some of the videos. I did tell him he was fine to do that. I don't mind. But yeah, he's been a great supporter and motivator, telling me, good job, I like this, and stuff like that. And also another newer one, Alvinn React. And I've got links to both Bboy and Alvinn React in the description below as well. He's a new YouTuber. I think he's only been doing it a couple of months maybe. And he's working hard to get up there. So go check those guys out and support them if you like them. But yeah, that's it from me. So check out my Patreon, my social medias, and my mailbox. You can mail me some stuff. If I get anything, I'll do a unboxing of whatever it is I get in the mail. And all the links to that are in the description below as well. Everything you've seen, it's in the description box below. Like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and I will see you on the next video.